Bill and Ted Face the Music. I just watched it. Is it good? I'm Michael Ann. If you enjoy my content, please hit the subscribe button, like button also. Share with your friends if you don't mind. Also, please comment, ask me a question, or a comment in general. I'll do my best to answer them. Also, if you don't mind, hit the notification bell down below, and you will be notified when I go live or upload another video. It's a band pretty much 30 years since Bill and Ted 2 Bogus Journey, but this is the original Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey. The movie was worth the wait, and I'm going to have to go ahead and say spoilers are ahead. It's going to be hard for me to talk about this movie with no spoilers. This movie was excellent. It was not bogus at all. It was really good. So, here we go. The babes, princesses, it looks like it's the same actresses came back, as far as I can tell. I was so shocked and so surprised that they brought back the same actor who played as Bill and Ted's father it was Ted's father. I was so surprised that they were able to bring back the same actor who played as Ted's father. They brought him back, which was awesome. That was incredible. I was so shocked about that. Oh man, I didn't think he was alive, to be honest. And then the actor who played as Rufus from the first two movies, they tributed him. They honored him in this movie. He kind of showed up in hologram form when Bill and Ted went to the future, after Rufus's daughter, this woman, which turned out to be Rufus's daughter, she showed up in this egg thing and took them back to the future, and Rufus was there in a hologram form, standing out of the telephone booth that they used in the first two films. But before I get to anything else, this movie is kind of dark in a little bit of way. Bill and Ted are going through a very hard time. They have been destined to save the world with their music ever since the very first movie. This third installment of this trilogy, and it's always been set to be a trilogy by the creators of Bill and Ted. This movie, they literally had to fulfill their destiny and save the world with their music as the Wild Stallions. And it's like they had to travel back in time like they did in the first movie. Except in the first movie, they traveled back in time and they got historical people so they can do a school project and pass it. And then in the second film, they went to the underworld. And the reason why I'm talking about the first two is because in this third movie, Face the Music, they literally took elements from the first one and the second one and they put them all together into one movie. They traveled back in time in this movie, and they also went back to the underworld. They did both. And it also, this movie had its own storyline as well. But, yeah, it's just see, Bill and Ted, and their babes, their princesses, their wives, they went to a couples council, and, they were having a hard time because Bill and Ted always said, "We love you too." They never said "I," and individually say "I" to their wives that they love them. And so they had to go through that. Plus, they were visited by Rufus's daughter, and they had to save the world. They were told that they had to save the world in a certain amount of minutes and hours, or the world would end and never be no more if they didn't play the song to unite the world. And boy, it was, and of course, Rufus's wife wanted to kill Bill and Ted. This is not the first time somebody wanted to kill them, and this is not this first time also a robot was sent to kill Bill and Ted. But this time, instead of it being two robots like it was in the sequel, it was just one robot sent to kill Bill and Ted, and it didn't exactly work out like that. Because, while Bill and Ted were trying to come up with the song to unite the world, traveling back in time, traveling to the future, meeting up with themselves in different moments in the future, because they met themselves one time at this, I think it was not really a restaurant. It might have been, I can't remember, some kind of place, and I think it was like a bar place or something like that. And themselves in this point in time, they were horrible. I mean, they just horrible people. Then then they traveled back in time, traveled to the future again, and they were like, it's hard to explain. They were themselves, but they had a different accent, and it turned out those themselves in that moment in the future, they were really, really bad. I mean, it's like they wanted to try to give Bill and Ted false music from another singer, and they wanted them to take that music, even though it was false music, stolen music, and use that to save the world with, which would not have been right. So Bill and Ted continued to travel to the future, and they met up with themselves again in prison, and they were doing a very dark music, and so that one didn't work out as well. And all between all of this robot was trying to hunt down Bill and Ted to kill them. And first, the robot killed off Ted's father, so he ended up in the underworld. And then, at some point in time, Bill and Ted went back into the future some more. They met up with themselves at, I think it was a hospital or a elderly home or something like that, because Bill and Ted were old, and they met up with themselves as old people. And all these moments in time in the future, they met up with themselves. So I'm trying to explain this the best as I can. It's really confusing. You have to watch the movie. But when they met up as themselves as elderly people, their elderly selves had a thumb drive. I think it was a flash drive, and on this flash drive was the song that they needed to save the world with. So their older selves gave it to them, and after they left there and had a moment with their elderly selves, the robot showed up. But before that, the robot had killed Bill and Ted's daughters and lasered them, as they said in the film. And their daughters was traveling with Rufus's daughter, and they wanted to travel back to the past to help out their dads, to help them make this song. So they got people like Jimi Hendrix and Mozart, I can't say it. It's a famous person in the 1800s. And then I can't remember the other people as well. I have to go back and watch the movie again. But they met up some more famous people in the past, got them all together in a band, and then the robot lasered them, got killed, ended up in the underworld. And then Bill and Ted, when they were getting ready to leave their elderly selves, they got lasered by the robot. And the robot wanted to basically end himself, so he ended himself along with Bill and Ted, because Bill and Ted wanted to get themselves killed so they can get to the underworld to save their daughters. So when they got to the underworld, they eventually met up with everybody, their daughters, and all the famous people that their daughters met up with for this band. And they met up with the Grim Reaper again. Same actor who played as the Grim Reaper in the second film, which was awesome. They had some kind of court issue with the Reaper because the Reaper wanted to take the Wild Stallion's name, I guess, from them, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they were able to get back together because the Grim Reaper was basically, he left the Wild Stallions band, but with the help of Bill and Ted's daughters, convincing them to talk with Death and all that. And of course, their daughters were talking with Death and telling him that they really loved him in the band and how they admired him. So finally, Bill and Ted was reunited with the Reaper, and they were able to get back together, and they had to get back to reality on, I think it was some kind of police metal bus or something that was in the underworld, and they traveled out of the underworld back to reality to when they were being alive. And this whole time, the world is going out of chaos. Basically, historical people from their times were all leaving their times and coming to our world in reality. So there's like a caveman walking around. There was a astronaut showed up in the real world. There was I forgot who it was. I think I saw George Washington or somebody else is carrying an American flag, and they were all in the real world. And then even the desert showed up, and the Queen herself showed up, and they all showed up in reality. It was like time was breaking up. The world was just in a mess because the world was ending. Bill and Ted had to make this music to unite the world and to put everything back into balance, which they basically got it done. But Bill and Ted's daughters was able to take this group of people with the Grim Reaper, and they were able to play this music. And they also had to be able to use their instruments and spread it out through. They had to use their music. I can't remember how it went, but they had to use their music and spread their music into the past and all that, and use instruments and really unite the world in music. And Bill and Ted got to perform again, and everything turned out alright in the end. Bill and Ted finally united the world in music. And it was so good. I mean, Face the Music is a very silly movie. It matches up with the first two. The first two are very silly. And I forgot to mention the flash drive that they got from their elder selves. They gave it to Bill and Ted, and they called it, it's time for them to face the music, hinting at the title of the movie, which was really, really cool. But Bill and Ted Face the Music was worth the wait. I'm so glad they were able to get this movie made and complete this trilogy, because I don't believe no more movies are going to happen. And in my opinion, that needs to be it for Bill and Ted. fantastic movies. Highly recommend watching all three of them. It's just, look forward to silly stuff. And speaking of Rufus, that's him right there. I can't remember the actor's name who plays as Rufus. Can't think of his name, but he's dead in real life. And that's the guy who plays as the Grim Reaper. But, good movie. Excellent, for sure. Alright. I'm Michael Ann. If you enjoy my content, please hit the subscribe button, like button also. Share with your friends who don't mind. Also, please comment, ask me a question, or comment in general. I'll do my best to answer them. Also, if you don't mind, hit the notification bell down below, and you will be notified when I go live or upload another video. Wild Stallions! Awesome. Thank you so much. Alright, bye. And be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!